Welcome. I have for you a restorative practice. With restorative practice, we need some props. So if you have a rectangular bolster, a yoga bolster, or you might find a cushion on your couch or your bed or something. Also a sleeping bag would work in place of a bolster. And we'll need, if you have, 2 chip foam blocks. I have covers on mine. And if you don't have chip foam blocks, you can use a couple of folded towels. And 1 blanket for your head or a pillow there, and then a second blanket to cover up with. And you might like something to cover your eyes, so if you have an eye pillow or a mask or even just a folded towel, you can place that over your eyes if you like. And then for later on, if you have yoga blocks, 2 of those. And if you don't have yoga blocks, you might find 2 kind of sturdy books about the same height that you can use for at least one of the shapes that we're going to take. So we will begin, and if you don't have those props ready, hit pause, come back, and we'll get going. So we're going to begin in a basic relaxation pose. So that's why I have my bolster set up perpendicular on my mat, about 2/3 of the way down. That will go behind your knees. I have 1 chip foam block on either side, or your folded towels, something to support the head, and my blanket and eye covering nearby. So once you get that set up, come on down to your backs. Placing the backs of your knees on your bolster and legs as wide as your bolster as it's comfortable for you. Okay. Before you lay down, you start to open up your blanket and cover yourself up. And those chip foam blocks or folded towels you have beside you are for the backs of your wrists to lay on. So as the arms open up away from the body, flip the palms up towards the ceiling and place the backs of your wrists on those blocks or your towels. If you're using something to cover your eyes, place your eye covering on. We'll be in this first shape for about 5 minutes, so our opening relaxation. To adjust your support underneath your head so that your chin drops down towards the heart center here.
begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes, slowly waking the body back up. Turning those into bigger movements, circling your wrists and your ankles. Changing the directions of your circles. And gently rocking your head side to side. And gently lift up your head. You can remove pillow or your blanket and take off your top blanket. We'll keep the bolster where it's at for the time being though. Bend up the knees and place the foot soles on your bolster if you like, or feel free to take the bolster out as well. I'm going to use mine, I think, today. You're going to begin with half wind relievers. Hug your right knee in towards the chest. Hands can go behind your right thigh or the front of your right knee. Inhale, right knee goes away a little bit. Exhale, squeeze it in. Good. Holding onto that right knee with your right hand, you can do some gentle hip circles here. Changing the directions of your circles. Cross that right ankle onto your left thigh for pure form of stretch. You can keep your left foot on your bolster. Maybe you like to lift your legs up. Maybe if it's available to you, you can thread your hands through that triangle you created. Take a grip behind your left thigh or the front of your left knee. And release the hands, bring that foot back down towards your bolster or the floor, and bring that right foot sole down. And we'll do some gentle wipers, so slowly dropping your knees to the left and to the right. Back to center, we'll hug the left knee in towards the chest. Again, you have the same options as that grip, so behind the thigh or the front of the knee. Holding that left knee with your left hand, you can do some gentle hip circles. Changing the directions of your circles. Cross the left ankle onto the right thigh. Push that left knee away. We'll talk about that on the first side, but foot is a little bit active, so you can leave your right foot on the bolster. You can lift your legs up. Maybe you'd like to thread your hands through. Release the hands, bring that foot back down, uncross. And then let your knees fall away from each other. The bottoms of your foot soles come to touch. It's okay for you, feet elevated on the bolster. If you want to take them off, that's okay. Just a few breaths here. Your bound angle, butterfly. We're going to do restorative butterfly in a little bit. Ready to draw your knees together. You can use your hands if you need to. And then scooch or push that bolster away from you. And bring your knees, still bend to your foot soles to the mat. Inhale, and then exhale, drop your knees over towards the right. If it's reasonable in your neck, you can look over your left shoulder. Inhale, gaze and legs back up. Exhale, drop your knees over to the left, maybe looking over that right shoulder. Bring it all back to center. You can head those knees into the chest, give a little rock side to side, or you can circle your knees. And changing the directions of the circles. And come onto one side, push your way up to your seat. Build our next restorative shape, which will be that restorative butterfly. So you'll need your bolster towards the top of your mat, running parallel with your mat. Your bricks or sturdy books, if you're using that, one on either side of you, and those will support your legs. Okay. And then you'll need something at the top of your bolster for your head, so that's your blanket or your pillow, whatever you're using there, and then maybe a second blanket for covering up or an eye covering if you like that. Okay, I'll show without my blanket. If you're using your blanket, start to cover yourself up a little bit maybe here. Bend your knees, place your feet on the mat, and then let those knees fall away from each other, and those bricks will come under outside of your upper thighs here for support. I would say one of two heights. You could do the lowest height, it's what I think I prefer, or the second height, the medium height. I don't think the tallest height would work or be very comfortable, but if that really does help you or feels good, feel free to take that tallest height. Good. And then you may have to adjust, I forgot my blanket here, but adjust your head support so it's high enough, well, it's in the right place, but high enough that the chin again drops down towards the heart. We'll be here, this one a little shorter, for 3 minutes. So remember, you can cover your eyes here if you like. eye covering. You want to slide that off first. Bring your knees together. Just for a moment or two, just rest here. Eventually, we're going to roll over and push our way up to our seats. Don't want to shock the system and come out of these shapes too quickly. Ready? Roll onto your preferred side. Might even pause there. You can hold on to that peaceful feeling throughout the practice, even throughout the day. Be nice. And then push your way up to your seat. Good. And we'll build our next one. We need a blanket, bolster, and one of your bricks. Begin with the blanket, in fact. I'm going to open that blanket up onto your mat. Spread it out. So this will be support, nice soft underneath your arms. Put that maybe across my mat. And then your block at that medium height, somewhere towards the top, and then carefully placing your bolster on top of that. And check for that it's sturdy and not going to fall over on you when you get into it. And if it works for you, you might grab your second blanket or a shawl or something to wrap over top of yourself. Come on down to the mat, bring one hip up to beside that bolster. Okay. And then we're going to come on down. You circle your arms underneath the bolster so that it's on this side, closest to you in front of your brick. Good. And the cheek rests so that your gaze is in the same directions as your knees. Here. Good. Set your timer. Just like you're cuddling something soft or your favorite person. Place your hands underneath your shoulders,
push your way up. Turn your back against the mat and stretch those legs out. Give them a little shake or bounce between sides. You'll tense your fingers beside your hips and slightly lean forward. Not the biggest forward fold here, but also stretch out the legs, the hamstrings after being bent up like that. And we have to do this on the other side, so they'll be bent up again for another round. Good, release, and then you can make your way to the other side. So I'll be facing away from you for this next round, but switching to the other side, bringing your hip up against your bolster, wrapping your hands underneath, and bring your cheek down, facing the other way. Again, you place your hands underneath your shoulders, push your way up, and turn away from that bolster. More around, that shake out, a little bit of a fold. Stretch out your legs, give them a shake. Maybe it's bouncing. Bring the legs into stillness. And then tent those fingers beside your hips and slightly lean forward. Feel free even to keep your knees a little bit bent. You can dig your heels in here. Relax, release. So our last shape for Shavasana, the final relaxation, is legs up the wall. So I'm hoping you have some wall space nearby. You can take your mat and I'll talk about the props for that. If you don't have a wall space, maybe there's a chair or a couch nearby, you can bring your legs up onto that. But I'd like to see you maybe place some support underneath the sacrum. And that's why I recommended the rectangular bolster. So that's as high as I would go. And you're going to have all your things nearby and then maybe test which one works best for you. So the rectangular bolster is an option. One of those chip foam blocks is an option. You see how my height's getting a little bit lower, but it's soft, whatever you're placing underneath there. Or last option is maybe a folded blanket, but not folded up too high. Again, just think about some softening underneath in the sacrum area. So maybe I'd go about there. So you get to your wall, you have your things nearby, place your mat there. You bring your eye covering, a second blanket if you want to use that to cover, or something else to cover up with. And our final relaxation will be another 5 minutes here. So make sure you have everything that you're going to need nearby, and make any little adjustments right at the beginning. So something that's uncomfortable, like 5% in the beginning of the practice, may become 5,000% uncomfortable as we're here for time. And to get your legs up to the wall, place the side of one of your hips up beside your wall and swing your legs up. Now, this is not the deepest hamstring stretch, so your seat does not have to be right up to your baseboard unless that's really comfortable for you. If it's still too much, your legs straight, feel free to bend your knees and place your heels into the wall. But to get your prop underneath in the sacrum area, you bend your knees a lot, place your feet on the mat on the wall, and push your seat up. Rising up, I'm going to slide bolster. I know I like the bolster, the rectangular bolster, underneath that sacrum area. Good. And you may have to wriggle around and adjust for comfort. Good. Remember, if that one feels like too much, it's uncomfortable, start to lower that. So it might be your chip foam block or a blanket. I'll set the timer. If you want your covering, another blanket or eye covering, place that on. Or a towel over the eyes, or maybe simply taking your glasses off and shutting your eyes for the next 5 minutes.
And bend your knees, place the feet on the wall. And push your feet into the walls. Lift your seat up, slide your prop out. You roll on to one side. And push your way up.